There are RV owners, and then there are RV owner types. The person who takes 40 minutes to reverse into a campsite. The full-timer who can repair anything with zip ties and a socket set. The weekend camper who somehow brings an entire supermarket for 2 nights away. Every campground has them, and if you own an RV, there is a very good chance you recognize yourself somewhere in this list. 17 owner types counted down from the dream that started with one trip to the newest arrival still figuring it all out. Number 17, the I bought it for one trip owner. This owner had one big dream. Maybe it was a cross-country road trip, maybe it was retirement, maybe it was finally taking the grandchildren camping or visiting every national park before life got in the way. They bought the RV, planned the route, watched every tutorial available, and prepared for months before that first departure. Then reality introduced itself properly. RVs are large, fuel is expensive, backing up takes actual practice. Dump stations are not glamorous, campground reservations are competitive, maintenance is real, and storage costs money every single month whether the rig moves or not. But they also discovered something they never expected going in. They loved it, completely and unexpectedly. That one planned trip quietly turned into a lifestyle. Now they are researching solar setups, watching RV videos late at night, comparing campsites, looking at better chairs, and planning the next trip before the current one has even finished. Twice a year, owners still learn fast. Number 16. The twice-a-year family. This family owns a perfectly good RV that sits in storage for most of the calendar year. Then, twice annually, they decide to go camping, and the first trip is always exciting right up until they discover the battery is flat, the tires need air, the fridge smells strange, the water system needs real attention, and the awning has gone sticky from months of sitting untouched. Nobody remembers where the leveling blocks went, and the kids have quietly outgrown half the camping gear since last time. But eventually, everything gets working again. And by the second day they remember exactly why they bought the RV in the first place. Breakfast happens outside. Everyone sits around the fire. The kids forget their phones exist for an entire hour, and everyone genuinely relaxes. Then they pack up, store the RV again, and repeat the whole process next year without fail. Some owners refuse to plan anything at all. Number 15. The we never book anything adventurer. This owner refuses to make campground reservations on principle, believing the best trips happen spontaneously rather than on a schedule. They wake up, choose a direction, and figure out the actual destination later in the day. Sometimes this approach works beautifully. They find an empty hidden campsite beside a lake, watch incredible sunsets, and discover small towns they never planned to visit at all, enjoying a freedom that heavily scheduled travelers rarely experience. Other times they arrive at 9:30 at night on a holiday weekend and discover every campground within 100 miles is completely full. Then they spend an hour driving dark, unfamiliar roads searching for anywhere legal to sleep for the night. They do not see any of this as a failure of planning. They see it as part of the adventure itself. And honestly, most of their best stories come from exactly these nights. Towing math is easy to get wrong. Number 14. The My Tow vehicle can handle it. This owner has genuinely done the math, or at least some of it. They know the trailer's dry weight, they know the tow vehicle's advertised towing number, and they watch the truck pull it down the highway once, so surely everything checks out fine. What they often forget is cargo weight, water weight, propane, passengers, tools, bikes, food, tongue weight, payload, trailer balance, and stopping distance under real-world conditions. They say it tows fine. Meanwhile, the rear of the tow vehicle is visibly squatting. The trailer sways at highway speed, and every experienced RVer nearby is quietly worried without saying anything out loud. This owner is not usually reckless. Most of the time they are simply new to the math involved. But towing capacity printed on a brochure is never the whole story, because safe towing genuinely requires understanding payload, hitch setup, tire ratings, weight distribution, trailer brakes, and actual loaded weight together, not just one impressive number. 2 kinds of neighbors ruin quiet hours completely. Number 13. The noise nobody asked for every campground has this owner, and they come in 2 closely related flavors. The first wakes up before sunrise, fires up the generator, starts brewing coffee, maybe runs an air compressor, and decides this is the perfect moment for a repair project while everyone else is trying to enjoy the birdsong. The second simply operates at maximum volume around the clock, with loud music, a loud television, loud children, a barking dog, and campfire stories that only get louder as the night goes on. Neither one usually means to be rude. Generators are sometimes genuinely necessary since batteries die, medical equipment needs power, and remote camping demands real energy. But this owner's generator seems to have exactly two settings: off and full aircraft takeoff, and quiet hours never quite register as a real rule rather than a gentle suggestion. Every campground posts quiet hours for a reason, and every campground has at least one person genuinely surprised that sound carries. This owner proves weather apps matter. Let me say one thing, and then I will not bring it up again. I have gathered these secrets and much more in a book over at rvsecrets.com. If you want it, it is in the comments and on the right side of the screen. That is all. Let us go further with the video. Number 12. The Weather App Addict. This owner has checked the weather 19 times before lunch, and that number is not an exaggeration. They carry 3 separate weather apps: a dedicated radar app, wind speed alerts, lightning alerts, a portable weather radio, and a genuine campsite strategy for rain, hail, temperature swings, and storms still 200 kilometers away. They will tell you exactly when rain is expected to start, then correct themselves 7 minutes later with updated radar. This is not anxiety. This is preparation, and it shows the moment weather actually turns. While everyone else scrambles to retract awnings and secure loose gear during a sudden storm, this owner has already packed the chairs, closed every vent, secured every loose item, and started making coffee, like nothing unusual is happening at all. Every campground needs at least one of these owners nearby, because they usually end up warning 3 other campsites before the first raindrop actually falls. Lists beat a panicked memory every time. Number 11. The Checklist Commander. This owner does not trust memory, and they are quietly the smartest person at most campgrounds. They carry a departure checklist, an arrival checklist, a towing checklist, a dump station checklist, a winterization checklist, a de-winterization checklist, a storm checklist, a battery storage checklist, and even a specific checklist for what to do if they smell propane. Every single list is laminated, color-coded, and stored in a waterproof folder near the door where it actually gets used. This owner has never driven away with the shore power cable still connected, never left the antenna up, never forgotten the wheel chocks, and never lost the sewer cap in the grass. At least not since the checklists went into service. Ask them why they bother with this much structure, and they will simply point out that every mistake on that list once cost them real money, real time, or a genuinely embarrassing phone call to roadside assistance. Setup speed reveals more than almost anything else. Number 10. The 10-minute pro and the 3-hour ordeal. Every campground eventually shows you both extremes of the same activity. The 10-minute professional pulls in, levels the rig, connects power and water, deploys the stabilizers, extends the slide, sets up chairs, and has a drink in hand before most owners have even located their wheel chocks. Nothing about it is random. Every hose has a labeled bag, every cable has a dedicated compartment, and every checklist step happens in the same order every single time. Then there is the 3-hour ordeal happening 2 sites over. The partner is outside waving both hands like an airport ground controller. Nobody agrees on what the signals mean. The dog is barking and dinner keeps getting pushed back another 30 minutes. Eventually the RV gets parked, only for them to discover the water hose is too short, the power pedestal sits on the wrong side, and the sewer connection is somehow uphill. They will move the rig at least twice more before calling it done. The difference between these 2 owners is never luck. It is simply how many mistakes they have already survived. Number 9. The I have a part for that owner. This owner has been living the RV lifestyle long enough to become their own technician, plumber, electrician, carpenter, and unofficial campground historian all at once. They can diagnose a water pump issue purely from the sound it makes and explain exactly why a slide out is binding without needing to look at it directly. Their storage compartment holds a multimeter, crimp connectors, spare fuses, heat shrink tubing, a full socket set, a drill, spare hose washers, at least 5 different kinds of tape, and one extremely specific tool nobody else at the campground has ever needed or even recognized. They have fixed a cabinet latch with a stray zip tie, repaired a water line using a fitting, bought at a random hardware store 2 states back, and gotten a total stranger's rig running again using a fuse they happen to have in a drawer. Everyone at the campground genuinely loves them, right up until they start explaining their latest solar upgrade in complete technical detail for a solid 45 minutes straight. Rustic was never the goal for everyone. Number 8. The luxury resort RVer. This person does not camp in the traditional sense at all. They stay at private RV resorts featuring infinity pools, spa facilities, golf carts, on-site restaurants, private beaches, valet waste collection, real concierge service, and shower blocks nicer than most hotel bathrooms back home. Their motorhome is enormous, their tow car stays spotless, and their campsite furniture alone costs more than some entire used trailers on the market. There is a proper wine fridge inside the rig, real glassware instead of plastic cups, and an outdoor kitchen with more counter space than most people's first apartment ever had. They are not chasing off grid solitude or quiet wilderness at all, and they will tell you that plainly if you ask. They are chasing a 5-star view that happens to come with full hookups attached, and there is nothing remotely wrong with that particular version of the RV dream. Other owners avoid hookups entirely. Number 7. The boondocking survivalist. This owner actively avoids campgrounds entirely. Hookups feel too easy, Wi-Fi feels vaguely suspicious, and a crowded RV park sounds like the opposite of the point. They carry solar panels, lithium batteries, generous water tanks, a generator for genuine backup, satellite internet, recovery boards, an air compressor, and enough food stored away to survive a minor apocalypse if it came to that. They know exactly how many amp hours they burn every single night. They know their inverter drawdown to the decimal. They know precisely how much water remains in the tank, and they know which roads are too narrow to attempt and which public land quietly allows overnight camping. Their campsite ends up beautiful, remote, genuinely quiet, and nearly impossible to reach without at least 3 wrong turns along the way. They never ask whether a campground has hookups available. They ask how far away the nearest other person actually is, and they consider a long answer the entire point of the trip. Every campsite becomes a photo set here. Number 6. The Instagram campsite designer. This owner has never once seen a campsite they could not visually improve. Their setup is clean, coordinated, and styled with real intention every single time. Matching chairs, matching mugs, matching pillows, matching string lights, a perfectly arranged outdoor rug, a small decorative sign, and a wooden tray reserved purely for breakfast photos all travel with them from site to site. The RV itself might roll through mud, rain, dust, and loose gravel to get there, but somehow every single photo still looks like it belongs in a luxury travel magazine spread. They take roughly 200 photos before anyone is allowed to actually sit down and relax. This is not really about pretending to be more outdoorsy than they are. It is about making ordinary outdoor life look genuinely incredible, and honestly, most of the campground quietly appreciates the view, even if nobody admits to checking their feed later that night. Storage solutions here put most houses to shame. Number 5. This is basically a tiny homeowner. This owner has customized absolutely everything they can reach. The old dinette is gone, storage has been rebuilt from scratch, lighting has been upgraded throughout, new shelving appeared where there used to be dead space, and somewhere along the way a proper desk, new flooring, a backsplash, a bigger fridge, and a dedicated coffee station all found their way inside. The RV now holds more clever storage solutions than most furniture showrooms manage to display. Every single cabinet does something specific. Every wall serves a genuine purpose. Every previously wasted corner has quietly become a charging station, a shoe rack, a pantry, a pet area, or hidden storage nobody would ever notice without being shown. Step inside for the first time and the honest reaction is always some version of wondering how this rig ended up more organized than the house it left behind. They will tell you they redid the interior themselves, and the pride in that sentence is completely earned. Dinner smells travel farther than any announcement could. Number 4. The Campfire Chef. This person does not simply cook while camping. They produce something closer to a food documentary every single evening. Their setup includes a grill, a smoker, a cast iron pan, a Dutch oven, a portable pizza oven, a cooler with clearly labeled ingredients, a dedicated spice box, and a cutting board genuinely larger than most RV kitchen counters could ever support. They wake up already talking about breakfast, spend the entire afternoon planning dinner in detail, and by evening the smell drifting from their site has reached every corner of the campground without a single word of advertising. The meal was never going to be hot dogs and marshmallows. It arrives as smoked ribs, grilled corn, homemade flatbread, cast iron potatoes, and a dessert that somehow involves both cinnamon and open flame at once. Everyone at the campground becomes noticeably friendlier around this owner right as dinner time approaches, and nobody pretends otherwise. 60 minutes is enough to know everyone. Number 3, the RV park social mayor. This person has been at the campground for barely 2 hours and somehow already knows everyone by name. They know who arrived yesterday, whose dog answers to which name, who mentioned a slow leak earlier, which site catches the best sunset, who is leaving tomorrow morning, and exactly why the campground quietly changed its rules last season. They organise potlucks without being asked, invite strangers to sit around their fire, help nervous newcomers reverse into tight sites, lend out tools without hesitation, hand out directions freely, and wave at literally everyone they pass on the way to the dump station. Nobody appointed them to this role, and nobody needed to. They are simply the reason a campground full of strangers starts feeling like a neighbourhood by the second evening, and most long-time RVers can immediately name at least one version of this exact person from a trip they still remember fondly. Home can travel. This owner proves it. Number 2. The We Basically Live Here owner. This owner does not go camping in any conventional sense. They relocate fully and deliberately. They arrive carrying outdoor rugs, string lights, folding chairs, side tables, a grill, a fire pit, actual plants, a small welcome sign, a hammock, a dog bed, a bike rack, and occasionally a small inflatable hot tub tucked into a storage bay somewhere. By the time setup finishes, their campsite looks noticeably more organized than most people's actual apartments back home. They learn their neighbors' names within 30 minutes, know exactly where the nearest grocery store sits, know which day the food truck arrives, and have already settled into a preferred laundry time before day 2 even begins. They never say they are staying for the weekend. They say they are here until the end of the month, and they mean it every time because for this owner, the RV was never a vehicle to begin with. It was always simply home, wearing wheels. Every single owner on this list started exactly here. Number 1. The new RVer still figuring it out. This is the most important owner type on the entire list, and it is not close. The new RVer is nervous. They may take a little longer to park than they would like, ask more questions than feels comfortable, connect a water hose slightly wrong, or need real help finding their leveling blocks for the first time. They may not fully understand how the dump station works yet, and that is completely fine because every single owner decoded on this list was once exactly this same person. Every experienced RVer once reversed into a site while a partner made confusing hand signals nobody could interpret. Every checklist commander once forgot something important enough to learn from. Every full-timer with a part for everything once had a first trip with absolutely nothing figured out. So if you see a new owner struggling at your next campground, offer real help without being asked twice. A calm 5-minute explanation from someone who remembers being new can save an entire weekend, and it costs the helper nothing beyond a few minutes they will not even remember by morning. Every single person on this list started exactly here, unsure, a little overwhelmed, and completely unaware of how much they were about to love it.